Go ahead, no problem. Yeah.
Oh, he pulled in. Yeah, he pulled in. Me know. That man not so even.
Yes, good morning and welcome to the Park Hill playing field for the CG United CWI Women's 50 over competition. In the second round here today, we have Trinidad and Tobago women taking on the Guyana women. Guyana women winning the toss and electing to bat. And I say good morning to you all our viewers. This is Alanson Cruikshank, and here with me in the commentary box is Mr. Silvano Son. Good day again, Silvano.
Good day, Mr. Cruikshank, and good morning to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Caribbean and wherever this commentary is being seen or heard. It's a lovely day at Park Hill. We have quite a bit of sunshine. It's not out in all its glory as yet, but we do hope that it will hold its own this way or even get brighter during the day, and that we'll have a full day's play of cricket.
Yes, and the Guyana team today, we have the skipper, Shamaine Campbell, Ashmini Munisa, vice captain, Shabika Gajnabi, Tramaine Marks, Latoya Williams, Laureen Williams, Casey Schultz, Shanita Grimman, Liliana Grimman, Mandy Mangru, and Plafiana Millington opening for Guyana. Liliana Grimman and Mandy Mangru. Anissa Mohammed will be taking the ball for Trinidad. We'll get you Trinidad 11 perhaps after the over, as we're about to get going.
And interestingly, Cruikshank, it's all to play for here in this game. Guyana winning their first game. Trinidad, on the other hand, will looking to capitalize on their loss against the Windward. So it's an interesting battle here between these two.
It's a very good force delivery. Beating Liliana Grimman all ends up. Nicely tossed up there from Anissa Mohammed. And some turn and some bounce.
Yeah, right away we see Trinidad bowling that line that they would want to maintain throughout this game. The wickets look pretty okay, but I think it's an even Steven wicket. Once you apply yourself, it's pretty slow. There was a little bit of overnight rain, but nothing of any sort that will really cause any damper to this game. So that one was turning pretty slow and beat the batter there outside there of some good delivery.
So on just going forward, another tossed up delivery. Played to extra cover, no run.
Very cautious start here by Guyana.
It's played defensively from Grimman. In terms of the field, the two fielders out are long on a deep square leg, the onside. And there's a backward square leg in the circle. Jairam. Point, cover point, extra cover. And mid off. So that the long on is being called up into the circle after those defensive shots. So switching personnel. Cooper and Jairam exchanging. And they're sending Cooper back on the boundary. Deep backward square leg boundary. And the fielder who was at square leg goes to Whitish mid wicket on the boundary. So on this, around that same length, just bouncing on that good length. Not full enough for the drive, but not short enough to be pulled. More flight on this one. Again, some turn from Mohammed coming off the inner portion of the bat of Grimman. This time she gets off the mark with a single, just pushed in the vacant square leg region, into that backward square leg. Now back on the boundary, so intelligent cricket there from Grimman. Ends the over. After the over, Guyana they are one without loss.
Yes, Cruikshank, it's a pretty cautious start by Guyana. Smothering the spin bowling of Mohammed, who is bowling a very tidy line already. She's not pushing it through per se, but she's getting quite a bit of appreciative turn off the wicket, which is very slow at this moment.
Yes, and Ramahak will take up the bowling from the other end. She, and to give you the rest of her team, she's the captain, of course, Karishma Ramahak. The rest of the team, Anisa Mohammed, Chanel Sow, Brianna Haricharan, Brittany Cooper, Nadia Mohammed, Janaba Joseph, Leanne Kirby, Amelia Khan, Samara Ramnath, and Shreya Jairam, the young 15-year-old leg spinner. So Ramarak will be bowling now to Grimman. Very similar feel. But the long on is out this time and the deep square leg instead of the deep mid wicket and the deep square leg. And it will be really under Grimman again on strike. There's a slip in place as well. Nice looking drive on the up. Should have time for 2 runs. Get there quite comfortably. To the applause of her teammates on the bench.
Yes, that's a very good shot there from Grimman. Just placing it, opening the face and running it down to the backward point here and picking up 2.
Ooh, some bounce on that one, and there's a short leg in place, so it's good field setting. It's easy to get one to pop off the glove with the bounce that we're seeing from the spinners. Again, some appreciable bounce. As you mentioned, it's not a quick wicket, but there seems to be a bit of a spongy bounce on it.
Yeah, definitely, and that is something the batters will have to try and negotiate, the bounce actually, along with that turn. So Mohammed trying to, Ram Harak really bowling that line, giving it some flight, and the batsman really have to be very watchful.
So on work for a single, wait on the signal from the umpire. The 2 umpires are umpire Gustad, who's standing now at the bowler's end. So he gives a signal for a leg by, and at square leg there is a local umpire, and that is Afran Bayern. So yes. Bayern and Gustad.
Yeah, that one was just pitching about middle and going down leg, turning, batsman trying to negotiate the spin, didn't make contact. It took the pad and run down to short, fine leg. Batsman was able to get a single.
Ooh, this one is very slow, very wide. Mangro pulling out of the shot at the last moment. Well, that was the first delivery that she has faced for the innings. All the other deliveries have been faced by Liliana Grimman. This one is swept. Should only be a single. Fielder gets it back in now. So she's off the mark, Mandy Mangro. As the backward square leg, deep backward square leg does the feeling. Similar conditions we had on the last game on Tuesday. This one is again worked on the onside. Should have time for 2. Could think of 3, but not on in the end. So a bit of a mixed bag so far from the skipper. 1 or 2 short and down the leg side. Ramarak. After 2 overs, Guyana, they're 8 without loss.
Yeah, a slow start here by Guyana, Trinidad. Trying to get grip on the ball, and they're doing so successfully so far, keeping the Guyanese quiet, not giving too much away. As we see, and they're looking for line and length, and a wicket that is turning and turning very slow. But yes, both teams packed with spinners, and I guess both of them accustomed to this spin attack. But it will be a battle for both teams to see who comes out on top here today.
Yeah, as you mentioned, both teams field with a lot of spinners, and they're accustomed to similar conditions in their home territories, Guyana and Trinidad. Slower, lower pitch is generally the case there, and this particular wicket is quite slow. Not as low, but definitely on the slower side. So Mohammed, she will continue to bowl. She'll be bowling her second over to Mangru. There's an interesting field. Silly mid-on and a short leg. So 2 fielders under the helmet. Oh, and some bounce, some turn. And I think that's the bounce that has really caused that type of field setting. That bounce that they're experiencing.
Definitely, you're seeing some bunks being extracted out of the wicket already, and hence the reason for the attacking field with two short leg in place. And they're realizing that the wicket is definitely giving some bounce and some turn, and they would have brought in 2 short fielders. There's a little bit of where did that struck? I did not see that.
Yeah, I think it came up from striking on the body and just went up into a helmet. So that's a precautionary check from the physio. Of course, you know that anytime you're struck on the head, there's a check in these days, that contemporary cricket. Just a cautionary check.
And whether the ploy by Trinidad, Cruikshank, would work, because usually we would see a spin and a seamer from one end, but they decided to go with open with both spinners from both ends. And so far, so good.
Yeah, it's something that I expected. They really very rarely use their medium pacers in the previous competition. They have Leon Corby, and they also have Nadia Mohammed, both of whom bowl medium pace. But very rarely, they really have focus on using their spinners. And of course, they experience Anisia Mohammed, having played several years for the West Indies. Very good bowler, very experienced, using her now in this game. Again, quite short, but well played by Mangru. They are first single. Get it comfortably in the end. Oh, and there's a ricochet. They're looking for the second. Ooh. They get it in the air. Cooper doing the retrieving. Wasn't able to avoid the second.
Yeah, well, good running between the wickets by both batters, and they're very alert. There was a misfield, and then there was an overthrow. They were able to get the extra runs there.
Ooh, it's a better delivery, that one. Just a bit closer to the off stump. And Mangru, of course, is not the tallest of batters. She's probably, I'm not sure if she's over 5 foot, but very short. So the bounce definitely would be an issue for her. So you're getting up on her toes to play that one.
Yeah, she's using all the skills that she could use against Mohammed, who's really getting the ball to turn. She has quite a bit of variation. And we saw the delivery before, just beating her all ends up.
Fuller delivery. She goes over the top, just over Amelia Khan. 1 point, she would have had her hand in her heart in her hands. But they get 2, and they're running very aggressively, these two. which is good to see from them. But a close call, I would say.
Definitely, Cruikshank. It's a very enterprising attack from Mangrove. You know, she was negotiating the spin quite well, the bounce and turn, and she decided she's not going to be bogged down and really looking to go over it up pretty early in the innings. But it was a successful shot nonetheless, so she was able to get two runs.
This time goes over the top, should be caught. Yes.
Brilliant.
Amelia Khan, another wonderful catch from her.
Brilliant.
And that's another catch from Amelia Khan, one for the highlights reel. She is an exceptional fielder, has taken several magnificent catches in the 2020 competition. And hitting the ball in the air next to her is fraught with danger.
Yeah, I was just alluding to the fact that Mangrove is not going to stay and push and pod, and she already has shown sign of attacking. And she again tried to go over the top. It wasn't a bad shot really, but it's really good work on the part of Amina Khan. Just running backwards and taking a diving catch. It was a really excellent catch indeed. Well taken and a very good wicket there for Trinidad. So success for Trinidad in this, the third over.
It's a very important wicket there. Mangrove experience, but not too sure about her approach to go over the top. As we mentioned, she's a very diminutive and a small player. Doesn't have the power. So even though it was in the air and going beyond the circle, there was enough time for Amelia Khan to get under it outside of the circle, just tracking back, which is a very good catch. You know, running back, it's not an easy way to catch the ball, and she was able to keep her eyes on it all the way through and completed it very safely. So it brings Laureen Williams to the crease. That was the end of Anisia Mohammed's over, so she has one wicket now to her name. The score is 12 for 1 after 3 overs. So going at 4 runs and over, which isn't bad, but they'll be disappointed with losing that wicket. As Grimond now faces up to Ramarak. There's a leg gully and a short leg in place. Flatter delivery. Played just softly out on the offside. No run.
Already there's quite a bit of chatter out there from the Trinidadians willing their team on.
This time goes for the sweep. Good deflection there from Anisia Mohammed.
And the team support, Cruikshank, we have seen in these games, it's a team sport, and you expect that your players should support your bowlers, take the catches, applaud them when they're bowling well and that kind of thing, and it really gives a lift to the team.
Ramarak will continue. She's been getting a lot of bounce. Then we have prompted them to get the leg gully in. It's uppishly driven.
And she is much quicker than Mohammed, and she's definitely right arm pushing it through.
This one is a top edge. She doesn't see it at all. She loses it under the helmet. But I don't think she would have gotten there. Landed far enough away from her.
Yes, but a very good delivery again. I thought it was a poor shot selection on the part of Grimond there. It was short. She went sweeping, but took the top edge and just went back to where a leg gully position would have been.
Yeah, because of the bunks that we are seeing, the cross-batted shots, have to be very careful in executing them. Quite easily, you can get the top edge. Brings Laureen Williams into strike for the first time. Ooh, hit uppishly, but doesn't carry to the short leg.
Yes, and Ramharak is really putting the ball in the right areas and causing some problems there for the batter.
This one is in the air and it's out. She's caught.
And again, Cruikshank, we were saying about this, the wicket and the bounce and the turn that has been extracted here by the Trinidadian spins from both ends. And we have seen Ramharak, who is a bit quicker and pushing it through, is getting the bounce and getting the turn. And the Guyanese are finding it extremely difficult to negotiate that bounce and turn. They need to be pushing out a bit more. They need to really tighten their defense, but sometimes they're just being caught mid-air. And again, another wicket for Guyana goes down. And well bowled. Ramharak, well bowled Trinidad.
Yes, that's Lorraine Williams in this miss. She stepped forward to the delivery, but just didn't cater for that bounce and turn coming off the inner portion of the bat. And it was a sharp catch from Anisia Mohammed at short leg. Brings the skipper to the wicket, but she will not be on strike. That was the last delivery of Ramharak's over. So consecutive overs with wickets falling on the last delivery after 4 overs. Score now 13 for 2. Guyana brings Charmaine Campbell out to face the heat, the spin heat from the Trinidad and Tobago bowlers.
Well, it's a rebuilding stage here now for Guyana. They have lost 2 early wickets and they need to definitely have a long partnership.
So on this played, slight misfield, but they get a single. So another single to Grimman. So Campbell will be on strike for the first time. It's really and Grimman gets another single. And the wicket of Campbell will be very key here. If she's able to negotiate these first 3 overs and to bat deep into the innings, she can get Guyana to a score that they might be able to defend. But if she's dismissed early, it can be very difficult going for Guyana. It's full of delivery, driven back to the bowler. No run.
And I think the skipper of Guyana, Charmaine Campbell, she's very much aware and she have seen what has happened. She have lost 2 of our players back in the hutch early, and she has to definitely come in and play a very brave and courageous innings.
Again, you see that bounce and that turn, not coming off the bat, just turning onto just above the front pan onto that tie guard area. But that bounce and that turn, it's always there. Maybe it's a case for them to get a leg gully in as well as they seal him in on and the short leg. Asking the short leg now to go a little bit behind square, but I think he could get a leg gully. Another wonderful delivery.
That one was pushed through with the arm this time and went straight through. But the skipper shoulder in arms. It's a quicker delivery there from Mohammed.
So leg gully now in place. This time she was down the wicket. I think Mohammed saw her. She left quite early. Just pulled the length back a bit, but she was able to get back to her crease before there was any damage. Struck on the arm from the delivery as she was looking to get back to her crease.
Yes, Cruikshank, and this pitch as we see how it is playing now, I think maybe if Guyana is able to get through to 150 runs, it could be a ding-dong battle here.
I think 150, I think it would win them the game. As he overcomes certain end, it's 14 for 2 after 5 overs.
And I'm sure Trinidad will be happy with this position at this moment. Having 2 early scalp of the Guyanese back in the position, back in the hutch. And Captain Charmaine Campbell joining her teammate Grimman would definitely have to consolidate and ensure that Guyana get anything over 100 if they're really going to put up a fight based on what we are seeing and the way the wicket is playing.
Yeah, well, I think that they need to ensure that they get through this first spell, because as the sun dries out the wicket, it will be a little bit better for batting in the next hour or so. But then you have to ensure that your top order is still there when that time comes.
And that is so important, to always have wicket in hand so that when the onslaught should start in the latter part of the overs. You have batters still to come.
Griman. He's an aggressive batter. Really an aggressive. It's had a few close calls so far in the innings, and it seems as if Ramarat now has found her line and length. And because she's bowling that's a little bit quicker than Mohammed, there's less time to adjust. I think that was well played by Griman in the end. I think she softened her bottom hand. But again, some bounce, some turn. She negotiates it for a single to square leg.
Yes, definitely. She has played that very well from what we would have seen. And again, she's showing sign that she's not just going to stick around and push and prod. She's this number one opener there, and she has been watching carefully. But she's showing some sign of attack. So we wait to see what she has in the tank.
Woo. That one seemed to be one that went on with the arm. Well, skipper Campbell was playing for some turn. But high bounce, no threat of an LBW. Stifled appeal. Definitely going over the top with the bounce that we have seen here so far. It's well played now by Campbell. Covers up nicely on the front foot.
Yeah, the skipper looking very solid in defense there, and that's the way they should be playing. I hope Griman and all the other players who is to come will take a leave out of her book. She's trying to get forward there, Cruikshank. Trying to negotiate the spin. Trying to get on the front foot as much as she can.
Yes, but again, some prodigious turn and bounce. So again, striking on the glove, that bounce. So again, what I said before is that the Guyanese and the Trinidadians may be accustomed to similar conditions, but I think the big difference is a bounce. They're accustomed to spinning wickets, but not one that is spinning and bouncing appreciably as you have here.
And you're so right, Cruikshank. Definitely, we are getting a lot of the Trinidadians are getting a lot of turn out of this wicket. And it is really, really, really tough going for the Guyanese in negotiating this spin and bounce out of this wicket. But so far, so good. The skipper has come in and she has been very watchful and trying her best to negotiate the bounce and the turn. They're having a mid-wicket shot now. What could they be saying to each other? More than to be selective and to play each ball on its merit, but at the same time trying to have the scorecard ticking over.
Yeah, they're facing up to a current and a former West Indies off spinner. So they should expect that in conditions that are favorable to spin, that they will have a challenge on hand, the Guyana team. Trinidad team, I don't think that there will be any shortage of spinners in this innings. They will continue the spin attack for well into the innings, so they should expect a diet of the same. This one is in the air. Oh, doesn't carry back to the bowler, but again, that bounce, not getting over it, really an agreement. And just pushing it uppishly down the wicket.
Yeah, I found her to be a bit tentative in playing that shot, actually. She was coming on the front foot and rather than looking to play an aggressive shot, she just pushed at it and the ball popped into mid there. Luckily, it lands in no man lands.
Maybe no woman land. That one was a bit of a lot there for Griman. This time, looking to go across the line, stifled appeal. That is what you see from her from time to time. It's just as she has a rush of blood and just predetermines an aggressive shot.
Yeah, her strategy as we see it now is that she's not going to let Mohammed get on top of her. She's not going to push and prod.
This one now, she's bold. It's a flighty delivery. Another wicket for Mohammed. Not really getting out to the pitch of the delivery. I think she really could have covered that one because of the flight, but totally defeated and she's bold.
Yes, a very well-flighted delivery from Mohammed, but Griman paid the price for not really coming forward and covering that delivery, as you rightly said. She should have been really out a bit more to it, but she just stood there and fanned it and missed completely and was bold. So another wicket goes down for Guyana, unfortunately. I've not seen them play this disappointingly as I'm seeing now. If I'm to take the match that they last won at Bookament against Jamaica, they were more solid in defense. But again, we talk about the wicket and the spin and the turn that is being extracted out of the wicket there by the Chinese. So they have a problem on their hand, and we'll see what if the other batters to come will have answer to the bowling of Trinidad right now. Mohammed is really on top.
So Shabika Gajnabi comes out to face the music. She a talented batter. A bit of an enigma, you would say, in cricket, where you'd expect her to make runs regularly. Somehow, at times, flatters to deceive, but very talented batter, Gajnabi. She has to now perform to her potential in this game for Guyana to have a respectable score. As Mohammed and the Ramarak are really, causing a lot of havoc today. 17 for 3 after 6 overs. And of course, both of them can bowl 10 overs apiece.
Yeah, well, it's interesting again. Gajnabi, who was one of the mainstays in the last game that see Guyana winning that match, she had been knocked out, so she batted pretty well in that game at Cumberland against Jamaica. But this is a different kettle of fish. Here she is off the mark, just turning just backward of square for a single.
She's a talented batter, well equipped. Our front and back foot, good against pace, good against spin. Sometimes you're looking at her bat and you just wonder how she got out because you didn't see any bowler really troubling her at the wicket.
And she's unlike her other colleagues. She's pretty tall and should be able to negotiate the spin better, particularly if they pull shot.
Again, only onto the front foot is Campbell. I think just a bit too early on the front foot here. That one really, because of the length and the bunks that we're seeing, probably better to play that off the back foot. This one now is a bit fuller. Firmly struck. And she's out. I gotta tell you what, you do not take on Amelia Khan. She is one of the best fielders in the competition. And that was brilliant. And that was suicide as well from the skipper.
Extremely brilliant feeling there from Amina Khan. This one was hit down to mid-on, and the batter thought they had an easy single, but she picked it up and threw directly at the stumps, and unfortunately, Campbell was out of her ground, unfortunately. And that's a brilliant piece of feeling there by Amina Khan, captain of Guyana. Sharman Campbell run out early in the innings. Brilliant piece of cricket there.
Yeah, I think she just ran with the shot. I mean, when you really look back at it, don't think that she had an opportunity there for a comfortable single. Considering who the fielder was, she hit it straight to her with some pace. Although she's quick between the wicket, you're hitting to probably the best fielder in the competition. And, you're really putting yourself at severe risk. Already 3 down, so now 4 down quite early. And she's replaced by Shanita Grimman.
That's why I'm saying it was a brilliant piece of feeling on the part of Amina Khan. She picked up in one throw and had the stumps down. I think the captain had other ideas, having hit that ball. She was going to the danger, and I know she had to really, really scamper to make it. But unfortunately, she didn't. So, Guyana sinking deeper into trouble here now with 4 wickets down. And Trinidad really having the upper hand here in this game. Still early days yet.
So now again, it's the end of the over. After 7 overs, 18 for 4.
Not looking good for Guyana at all. 18 for 4. As Ramhara continues. Getting some encouragement coming from the Guyana camp, asking their batters to stick it out. who will be the David over the Goliath here.
Shanita Grimmel on strike. Just comes forward to this one. The thing about these two is that they're a bit taller. The three who had been dismissed, well, aside from the 3 of the 4 have been dismissed, of course, aside from Laureen Williams, quite diminutive players. The Bongs really giving them a lot of trouble. Grimmel able to just get over the delivery, cover it up. But no bad delivery has really been solved up. Both bowlers now are well into their groove, exerting a lot of pressure. In the 8 over, it's 18 for 4. Leg slip in place like gully. Short leg. This one is cut away into the gap. Should have time for 2. And they're taking 1 with the throw. So 2 runs to Shanita Grimmel. Gets her off the mark.
And of course, that will help to ease the pressure of the Guyanese batters. And this is what they have to try and do. They have seen what is happening in terms of the wicket and the bongs that is being extracted. So they have to try and push along, push the ball in the gap where the boundaries has been very difficult to come by. So they need to just push in the gaps and pick up the singles in order to overturn the strike. So here's this delivery again from Ramharak, being played forward by Grimmel. So it's a matter of survival for the Guyanese now. And to build on that partnership, we're still extracting some serious bunks and turn out of this wicket is Ramharak. She's pretty tall, slimly built. And really, really putting the ball in the right areas there for her skipper.
It's 20 for 4 after 9 overs. So it has been a brilliant start by Trinidad and Tobago. Guyana has a lot of work to do now to set a total that will be competitive. But there's a lot of time left in the game, and both players should recognize that. And things will get easier. Yes, there will be more spinners to come. But the thing is that these 2 are the 2 most experienced spinners. One having played several years for a very long time, and Anisi Mohammed for the West Indies at the highest level. And Ramarat now currently the off spinner in the West Indies team.
Well, you alluded earlier to the pitch drying out and playing a bit easier. That left to be seen, but I know Cruikshank runs on the board is runs on the board, and it will be interesting to see when the Trinidad turn come to bat what would happen. And here's another wicket going down, a ball that was pitched, and here is Ganjani trying to force a shot off her legs and hit it straight in the laps of the forward fielder, who took it up with absolute glee, and another wicket goes down for the Guyanese.
It's one of those that you said sticks in the hand. It was hit firmly, so you will count yourself a bit unlucky, because usually when you hit those so firmly, you will pass the fielder there at short leg. But there's a lot of Brittany Cooper to pass. She's tall, so there's got it in her midriff and was able to pouch the catch. So 5 down now for Guyana, and then serious problems as the new batter comes to the wicket.
Well, this is very, very, very intriguing here at the Park Hill playing field. Trinidad versus Guyana. Guyana winning the toss and electing to bat, and is in serious trouble with 5 wickets down. Are we going to see an early end to this match? Cruikshank, what's your prediction? Is it too early?
No, I think it will be an early end. Because once you don't have 100 overs, it's an early end.
Well, we wait and see. We always hear that cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties. I continue to say that runs on the board is runs on the board. And we will see what happens in this match as play continues here. But right now, Trinidad, with their tail up, is really adding wings to the Guyanese team. Not many spectators here at the ground. There's a few villagers, and we're a company of the forest, of course. It's pretty quiet, no wind.
Munisa comes forward for first delivery, just plays it back to Cooper. But the important thing here is the length that the Trinidad and Tobago spinners are bowling. They're not really giving them anything to full, to go through the line, or too short to pull, or cut. And as I say, so she gets a short one to cut, but rare that they're getting anything that short.
But the Trinidad captain and the team must be applauded for the strategy. After when we were speaking about the early turn that we see being extracted from the wicket, they would have put in an extra forward short leg and then now a leg gully. And it has worked wonders for them.
Yeah, Monisa, a very young player, but she's the vice captain of the team. She'd want to lead now with the bat in terms of the approach for the rest of the innings. Batting at number 7. Ooh, a bit of bounce and turn there again. But that's a very good delivery. That's a bit quicker.
It's quicker and flatter, and had her in some trouble there. Catches win matches, Cruikshank, and I'm very impressed with the Trinidad feeling up to date.
Yeah, they've taken some very good catches. None better, of course, than the one we saw from Amelia Khan. She also effected a run out. So feeling is important. They're seeing that brilliant catch already from Brittany Cooper. And also a sharp catch at short leg from Anisa Mohammed. So, if those had gone down, it may be a different story at this stage. But, the feeling is sometimes you look at it as the forgotten discipline. But I think it's, especially in the white ball cricket, an even more important discipline in some cases than the other two. Because you see, when you give a quality batter, another chance, that could be the difference between winning and losing.
Okay, we have lost the sunshine now, and Ramharak continues to pick up the attack from the southern end. She has been bowling Trinidad into this position that they're in now, putting Guyana under tremendous pressure.
It's a loud appeal. Didn't seem to. Probably a case where the just came off the face of the bat. Keeper didn't gather. Chanel Sow. Very tall wicket keeper.
There is some concern out there with one of the players. Apparently, she probably was struck on the helmet as that ball was pitched outside leg stump. She went to collect and probably took it on the visor. But again, Cruikshank, you're captain of Guyana at this stage. What would you be saying to your players?
So the two at the wicket, you would want to say, based on their different abilities, you ask Grimman to, ask them to play as straight as possible and as much of the back foot as possible as well, I think, because of the bunks. I also would ask them to, in case of Grimman, to look for anything that just remotely gives you an opportunity to score and try to pounce on it. And then you ask Bonisa now just to continue to bat, just stay out there.
So shot selection is critical at this stage.
Definitely. Again, that one just on the pad. You have to just take your time just a little bit now to play there, knowing that the leg gully is there. Make sure that you get over it, which she did. Then you find the gap. More bounce again, more turn. Missing that one, Grimman. You see that's the area that is troubling them, and Field is well pleased to exploit it.
Yes, they're being dragged into trying to play. It's a must play. They are not trying to actually play with their pad. They're trying to get their bat there, but the ball is turning so viciously. And here she's pushing out, and she's able to scamper through for a single, and of course bring some relief to the batters. In this situation, you don't want to be bogged down with the bowler always being on top. You have to look for the run, look for the singles. We have not seen any boundaries yet, Cruikshank, so it is important for them to push along and pick up the gaps and get the singles and keep the score going.
Yeah, so it's a 10th over being bowled. Yeah, you mentioned no boundaries in the entire power play thus far. Not surprising given the state of the game, 5 wickets down. You will see that there have been quite a few attempts to hit the ball in the air. Don't necessarily think that that's the wise way to go, seeing that you have a lot of wickets down. Well played there by Monisa. Straight bat, soft hands, high elbow. Keeps it down.
So Guyana really would like to get anywhere in the region of 125, 150. And I could see this being a very, very, very intriguing contest.
So well played again by Monisa. So again, that is what I would ask her to do specifically, you know, to stay out there. And after 10 overs and the end of the power play, Guyana women, having won the toss and electing to bat, they are 21 for 5.
She has to be the Shanja Paul for Guyana. And somebody has to take the attack to the bowlers in order for them to get over the 100-run mark. So I'm joined here now by Kato, my other fellow commentator. Welcome. Good morning, Kato.
Good morning to you, sir, and good morning to all our viewers.
I'm sure you've been watching from the start, and what is your impression so far?
A difficult start for Guyana, succumbing to some very good spin bowling from the Trinidad and Tobago openers. Wicket also assisting to some extent. We've seen quite a few deliveries, turn and bounce. So quite difficult negotiating the spin up front. And it's just a matter of batting as much overs as possible now for these Guyanese pair. For this Guyanese pair.
Yes, indeed. So Guyana trying to do some recovery here as Mohammed continues to bowl. And this one is is it bowled? The Trinidadians are up in arms. Yes, she's out. Oh my goodness, this ball was pitched just outside the off stump, turning back. The batter had no answer to it. She was shoulder arm and it took the off stump. And Guyana now is reeling at 21 for 6. 21 for 6, Kato.
Not the best of option there from Grimman, looking to leave that one outside the off stump. We just mentioned a while ago Trinidad and Tobago spinners, most notably Anissa Mohammed, her experience coming to the forefront once again, getting a bit of tone on the wicket, looking to leave that one outside the off stump, and in the end losing her off stump. Not the best way to go, but it's another breakthrough and another dagger in the heart of the Guyanese.
Absolutely, and it's really, really, really deplorable batting here from the Guyanese, and the Trinidadians with their tail up, they were jumping all around with that wicket from Mohammed. A ball that was well pitched outside the off stump and had Graham in some serious trouble. She didn't know whether to go back or to play forward. She was shoulder arm and was comprehensively bowled through the gate. So this is the 15th over in play, and Guyana is reeling at 21. 21 for 6. 21 for 6, Guyana. So it's look like we're going to have a low-scoring match here, Kato.
Certainly looking that way, based on what we've seen so far. The core of the Guyanese batting back in the pavilion at this point. These two, though, will look to build somewhat of a partnership, albeit it will be a difficult task, given what we've seen from the bowling so far.
And from here on, Kato, what do you think? What projected score will you think that the Guyanese would like to have if it's going to be challenging?
But it's hard to see them getting anywhere beyond 150 at this stage. Maybe in the last game, Barbados made 144. That proved to be too much for the Leeward Islands. If you're using that as a gauge, it's a long way away from this particular stage, but I'm sure they want to get up to at least 100. They themselves,
And there's another one. Oh my goodness, Mohammed is weaving web around the Guyanese here this morning. And Williams, who has just come to the wicket, she's a left-hander, and she was comprehensively bowled again. Well-flighted delivery from Mohammed, who is a West Indies player and showing all her experience here, Kato.
Certainly did on that occasion. Again, a good delivery, a beautiful delivery, a bit of turn, a bit of bounce, going past the outside edge there of Williams and taking the top off. Typical off spinner's dismissal to the left-hander.
My goodness, my goodness. What is happening here at Park Hill? It's an exciting match that is taking place here, and Trinidad is all over the Guyanese. 7 wickets is down now, and we are into the 16th over. Sorry, the 11th over, sorry. We are into the 11th over. And Guyana is reeling at just about 22 runs for 7 wickets. Mohammed is really, with her tail up, bowling Trinidad to a victory. Hopefully, we'll wait to see the outcome of this match.
New player being Schultz, left arm spinner. But Guyana going to need her with the bat this time around. She's also on a hat trick, Mohammed.
So this is the hat-trick ball for Mohammed. As Schultz, wearing the number 81 jersey, will face up. And what cricket we would have seen, a game of glorious uncertainties. Both teams are packed with spinners, so it's interesting to see, Kato, what would happen. Whatever score Guyanese might put on the board, it will be interesting to see how Trinidad respond. But here is Mohammed looking for that hat-trick now. The hat-trick ball as Schultz face up to her. There is a forward short leg, a backward short leg, and a leg goal. A very attacking feel indeed. And for this delivery, Schultz is pushing it out and denying her. Well bowled and well played, Kato.
Yeah, well negotiated on that occasion. Schultz just coming forward and smothering whatever spin coming back into her.
Not a very good position at all Guyaners were looking to be in at this time. I'm sure they just coming off of a win in Cumberland against Jamaica. Comprehensive win, that is. But this is completely a different kettle of fish. And you would have seen the Trinidadians played before, Kato. This is my first time I would have seen them playing, but I'm impressed with the bowling.
I think they bowled well during the T20 tournament. I think they had some issues with their batting, though. Something that will come under some pressure if Guyana are to make any sort of competitive total, which is looking highly unlikely at this stage given what we have seen so far. It's 21 for 7, 11 overs completed.
21 for 7, 11 overs gone. A long way, still a lot of play in this game. But what would it be? Would the few batters that are remaining in the hutch for Guyana will be able to really bring them up to the 150 or just over the 100 mark to give them some form of encouragement to fight Trinidad in this game? So it's Schultz meeting mid wicket with her partner. Minister and Schultz at the wicket for Guyana. Minister wearing the number 14 jersey. She will be taking strike. And she would have bowled well in the last game as well, so it's interesting to see what she would do here with the bat. Right-hand batter as she waits. And this one, she's coming forward and running it down to a short backward square for a single. Ease the pressure somewhat. K2 had asked, based on the bounce that the Trinidadians are getting, we know it's not easy out there, but the batters, should they take the attack? They're not sure whether they should attack or whether they should just push and prod.
Well, at this point in time, it's I think the order of the day would be just try and bat as much overs as possible. At least see off these two opening bowlers into her sixth over now, Captain Ramharak. Attacking intent, yes, if the opportunity presents itself, but if you're working with the law of averages, you would think that the Guyanese will be looking to bat as much of these overs as possible. Still around 38 overs also to go.
Well said. I can't agree with you more than that. It's important that they bat out all the remaining overs because it's definitely a lot of overs to come. And you never know. You never know. Once they get over that 100 mark, if they could get over that 100 mark, it will be definitely an intriguing contest.
I think one of the issues I'm seeing in terms of the batting technique of the Guyanese is that they're coming forward a bit too early. They're not playing the ball late enough. Whenever the ball is turning this big, you have to try and play it under your eyelid, as they would say. try and wait as much as possible, as long as possible to the anticipated turn. But what we've seen, a lot of players coming onto the front foot and causing a lot of problems for themselves.
And definitely that has been one of the uncertainty with the batters. They're not sure whether they should come forward or whether they should stay back. So they're in all sorts of trouble. And here's one that bunks and torn, beating the keeper, and the first slip runs back and they get a single. But Trinidad continue to apply the pressure, continue to bowl well. Two openers, we have not seen a change as yet, Kato. So whether they will want to bowl out these two bowlers, which don't always be the case, but there is no need to change. And so, as I said, no change yet. We see Mohammed still getting ready to continue from the other end, and how well she has bowled for the morning.
She's a very experienced campaigner, Anisa Mohammed. Even in the 20-over tournament, we saw her really putting her hand up and being counted for the Trinidad and Tobago team. It's always good to have that sort of experience in your outfit. It's a team that is blessed with a lot of good, talented youngsters, but it definitely need a sort of experience, as this one is walked nicely behind square. Should challenge the boundary and just pulled up inside of the boundary there from Harry Karan. So 2 more runs added to the total. Slow progress here earlier on in this contest. Total up to 25 for 7.
Yeah, and that's welcome two runs there for the Guyanese. This one was a full toss on the leg side, and she was just cut it around. I almost thought that would have been the first boundary of the match, but it didn't. She just was save inches within the boundary. But 2 good runs nonetheless for Guyana. Sun is out with us again, K2, and we hope that it stays with us. And we ourselves, having come here to carry this game, we're hoping that we'll see a very, very good contest between bat and ball.
Well, the weather has been relatively kind to us throughout the tournament, including the T20 tournament. A bit of shower and a couple of the night games, but never really impacted the game to the extent that a result wasn't possible. So we're hoping for more of the same here in the beautiful village of Park Hill on the northeasterly side of the island. Certainly a great place to play cricket and watch cricket as well.
And I believe as well, if the game go as long as it should, we could see a few more spectators in, because we know when cricket is playing here in the countryside, as you say, in the northeastern part. Okay, so we're having a free hit now. Free hit. But I was mentioning, and for the interest of cricket, once this game goes its full length, we could see villagers coming out, because we know that here in the country, Kato, villagers love to come out and support the cricket.
It's something we saw in the last game. Quite vociferous in terms of their support. At times you might hear it through the camera and the mics as well, coming through because of the loud nature of their support. But nothing malicious in any case, just enjoying whatever cricket is on show here at Park Hill.
Yeah, we're not missing any cricket, as we have some concern there. I think a player was probably, or 2 players was out of the circle, and now that has been fixed. So Mohammed will begin her attack again as she comes in to bowl to Schultz. And here Schultz going for a vicious shot. She could be out. Oh, just missing the fielder running from cover. But it was a free hit. Even had she took that catch, she would have been safe. But nonetheless, she got a single.
Not taking advantage of that free hit opportunity, Guyana. You would think, given the state of the game, that they will relish any sort of opportunity like that to get some runs on the board. But just not getting the power on that occasion is Schultz.
It's really be good to see batters really starting putting bat to ball, actually. But as I say, because of the position the Guyanese are in, it really have them in a very cramped, the batters to come in a very cramped position. I don't know what advice the manager might be giving to the players or the captain, but you have alluded to it earlier, Kato, that they need to bat as many overs as possible, and that is key right now. Manisa just trying to keep that one out and did so effectively as she faces up to Mohammed again. And here she is going for a shot. It's in the air and she could be out. Is she? Yes, she's out. She is out. Mohammed is taking her 6th wicket now and a well-flighted delivery. Her eyes lit up and Munisaf looking for that big hit over long on could only hold out to short long on.
Not the best selection of shots there from Munisa, looking to go over the top. Don't think she has the power to do such. Once again, presenting a quite simple opportunity there for Khan, who wasn't going to drop that at any rate. But Guyana continue to lose consistent wickets, having won the toss, electing to bat for certainly not the batting effort they were expecting. And the Trinidad and Tobago, they've taken full advantage of what has been some rather inept batting.
So Trinidad now losing their 8th wicket, their 9th wicket. 8th wicket, sorry. Their 8th wicket is going down. Yes, with the score on 27. 27 for 8, Guyana. What a dismal performance. Trinidad really making inroads here and weaving web around the Guyanese.
That wicket coming off the last ball of her 7th over there, Anisa Mohammed. Figures of 6 for 11 so far, including 2 menus. Ramharak, she's been a good foil at the other end. Not as successful, but economical. 6 overs, 1 for 14. So both spinners combining for 7 wickets for 25 runs. We have a run out as well. That of Campbell, Shameen Campbell. So nothing going right for the Guyanese here this morning at Park Hill.
Kudos to the Trinidadian. They have fielded, they have bowled, they have supported the bowlers, and really they have all right to be. Well, they have been playing some very good cricket here, and really Guyana have their work cut out for them.
New players Plafiana Millington. I'm not sure she would have been expecting to be out in the middle this early. More renowned for her off-spinning abilities, Millington, but has a job to do here for her captain and her team, her country.
Yes, and since this match has started, K2, spin has been the order of the day. At this stage, I don't think we are going to see even a seamer coming in here because the Guyanese have shown that they have not been able to negotiate the slow bowlers.
Indeed so.
Well, Trinidad must be feeling real happy. Managers, coach, and everyone having lost their first game badly against the Windwards. And now they're showing that they are a force to reckon with. The Red Force, tails are up. Hello to our colleagues and friends in Trinidad. The girls are doing well. Here in St. Vincent, match played at Park Hill, northeastern side for those of you who know St. Vincent well. Guyana reeling at 27, 28 for 8. And Kato, we have not really seen any, apart from the bungs that is being extracted, we have not seen any devil in the wicket per se.
There's an opportunity there at square leg. I think it's Jairam there at square leg. Full delivery on the line of the leg stump. Looking to pull that one. There was Schultz. And Jairam not able to effect that catch. So an opportunity there goes a begging. Not a lot we have seen this morning from Trinidad. They've basically taken everything that has come their way. But Guyana and Schultz live to fight another day.
Yeah, that was definitely a good pull shot. Hit relatively hard. And the fielder at backward square was not able to hold. She got a hand to it, but it just ricocheted. And the batsman was able to get a single. So that was the first blemish we would have really seen from Trinidad. Outside of that, they're really on top of the game here, Kato.
It's going to be the spin of Mohammed to continue. No surprise there. spoke about those spin bowling options. Still the likes of Ramnat, Jairam, Harikaran to come. So lots of spin bowling options. I'm not sure we'll see the likes of Kobe anytime soon.
Guyana will have to believe in themselves if they're going to really put on a total that will challenge the Trinidadians. They have to believe in themselves that regardless of the stage of this game, they still have a lot of overs, and if they can manage to stay at the crease and really put on some more runs, maybe another 40 or 50 runs, even though they're what we would say they're at the tail now, Trinidad are really bowling at the tail enders. Somebody, Guyana should be looking for someone to really bat long and put on a good score here.
They'll need to have a plan. I think in the immediate future, I think they'll want to see if Anisa Mohammed, more than likely. Just get through that particular spell. You don't want to be bowled out by the two opening bowlers. That would be really not something you would look forward to. So they'll want to see of these two bowlers and see what way they can get some singles going. I haven't seen a lot of those, a lot of dot deliveries, which really adds pressure to the batting team.
Right on the money there, Kato. Right on the money. It will be very, very, very disappointing or deplorable to say the least to see that a team is being bowled up by the two opening bowlers. They wouldn't want that. This would not be good for cricket, for West Indies cricket at least. But looking at those two players, Kato, in the middle, they look pretty powerful. And they look like they can really hit the ball. But I will take my leave now. So I still have a few more time to go until Cookshan comes in. So that brings the over to an end. So Mohammed and Ramharak continue to really put the pressure on the Guyanese here, and they've been bowling well from the start of this game, and they're counted for 8 of Trinidad wickets to date, with Trinidad now just about 30 runs for 8 wickets. K2, I still want your projected score at this stage. Are we going to see Guyana reaching 100?
Certainly looking a long distance away, that 100 we spoke about earlier. I think they need to take it in blocks of 5 overs or so. See how well they can get through 5 over periods. And you never know, cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, as I say. With a score on the board, maybe 75-80. This one is getting the outer portion of the bat, thankfully for Millington. Going past the fielder there at slip. Another single added to the total. Up now to 29 for 8. Those of you just joining us, Guyana, they won the toss earlier, electing to bat first. And it has been somewhat of a procession so far this morning, losing wickets at regular intervals, largely due to the brilliance of Anisa Mohammed, who was 6 for 11, and ably assisted by Ramharak, the captain herself, leading from the front in terms of her bowling this time around, 1 for 15. So difficult situation, but it's a situation that requires a bit of patience, grit, determination, and of course, the talent and nuance.
Yes, and this is what cricket is all about. 90% of it is played in your head. And then to be in a position like this, it definitely calls for a lot of concentration. Both Millington and Schultz have to definitely put their head down and bat. A lot of chatter is going on out there with the Trinidadians, and this could be very difficult for the here's a ball that is chucking her Schultz on the pad. Big appeal from the infielders, but not out, says the umpire. And here's a sweep shot. This could bring, is it the first boundary? Is it? It's going down to the backward square. No. Batsman scamper through for 2. 2 well played runs coming there from Schultz. Swept down to backward point. A very good shot indeed, Kato.
Relatively unorthodox as well, but effective in the end. Guyana would not mind in whatever way they get these runs. As long as they're able to accumulate some sort of total here this morning. Good conditions for cricket as we mentioned before. Sun is out in all its glory. Gentle wind blowing across the ground as well. We've seen a bit of attacking intent from Schultz. Whether or not that is the way to go is left to be seen.
You know, I've noticed that every time the ball is tossed up, Kato, batters always think that they have a chance for a go, but they are not coming out to meet the ball, and that has been one of the problems there for the Guyanese. When the ball is flighted, they're not getting out on the front foot enough. They're just staying there and swish, as we saw in that last delivery before this one. She made an attempt and it just took the inner half of the bat. Luckily for her, it missed the leg stump. So that brings the over to an end, and the score is 31 for 8 Guyana. 31 for 8, winning the toss and electing to bat.
Another tight over again from Captain Ramharak. It's quite different in terms of our mode of operation. Tends to bowl a bit flatter. Mohammed tends to give the ball a bit more air, which perhaps explains the difference in success. But both effective to some extent. Anissa Mohammed now into a 9th over on a trot.
And we saw captain and vice captain of the Trinidad team having a little short conversation, apparently whether she should bowl right through or not. But here is Mohammed again, continuing the attack, and again extracting bunks and turn. This one, the batsman just taking the bottom hand away. A loud appeal, but no real danger per se. It was hitting high up on the pad. Well, what a match we have seen for the morning. We have seen some very, very, very good spin bowling, and for many of our listeners and those of our viewers, we have seen some very good spin bowling from the Trinidadians. For those here in St. Vincent, if you really want to see what spin bowling is all about. And here it is again. Mohammed has got her 7th wicket. We just spoke, Kato, about the batter just staying in the crease and not coming forward. This one was tossed up again, and the batsman just very casual in coming forward and lost off stump.
Here's an action replay of the previous dismissal. Flighted delivery outside the off stump, turning back in to the right hander. We spoke about the fact that she does give the ball a bit more air than her counterpart in the form of Ramharak. And all of her experience, once again, understanding that this wicket, if you the slower you bowl, the more assistance you get from the wicket. We've seen quite a few deliveries, bouncing, a few turning as well. And on that occasion, just a bit too good for Millington. And she gets her 7th wicket as Guyana, they're 31 for 9. Yes, 31 for 9. You're hearing correctly. They had Park Hill in this Cricket West Indies 50 over championship. So whilst the player will take a bit of a refreshment on the field, we'll take some refreshments in the commentary box as well. Well, welcome back to the Park Hill playing field. Action in the Cricket West Indies CG United, 50 over championship. Game being played between Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago. Guyana won the toss earlier, electing to bat first, and has really struggled for any sort of consistency so far. Really, and a Griman bowler Anisa Mohammed for 8. Mangro caught Khan Boat Mohammed for 5. Laureen Williams promoted today to number 3. She was caught Mohammed Bowl Ramarak without scoring. Showman Campbell run out without scoring. Gajnabi caught Cooper Bowl Mohammed for 1. Griman Shemita Griman Bowl Mohammed for 3. Ashmini Munisa caught Khan Bowl Mohammed for 1. Latoya Williams, she was Bowl Mohammed without scoring. Plafiana Millington, the last to go before the drinks break, she was Bowl Mohammed for without scoring. So Casey Schultz and Tremaine Marks, 2 players at the crease. The last pair for Guyana here this morning. Anisa Mohammed into her 9th over as she's bowled again. So 8 wickets. Action replay of the previous dismissal. Bowl all ends up. There was Tremaine Marks. Certainly didn't suggest a lot of prominence based on that 4 shot we saw. And Guyana this morning, a disappointing effort. All out for 31 here at Park Hill. Anisa Mohammed finishing with figures of 8 for 11.
Yes, Kato. A very fine performance here by the Trinidadians. A very, very excellent bowling spell. And we fear that to get the opening bowlers bowling out a team. We fear that, but it happened. It is history that Trinidad opening bowlers have bowled out the Guyanese batters for paltry 31 all out. It just shows that from the onset, with the wicket turning viciously, the Guyanese found it very difficult to negotiate the spin. None of the batters shown that they have the answers to the quality of bowling for the Trinidadians, and they have really been bowled out for a paltry score of 31. So we await the response from Trinidad. They are now in a huddle out there, congratulating each other, and they must be commended for such an important display of bowling. Well done to Mohammed, who has taken 8 for 11. She has shown her dominance and her experience as a West Indies player in this 50 over CG women's cricket tournament. And kudos to the Trinidadians who have played magnificently well. So to our viewers, our listeners here from the Park Hill playing field, the match began between Trinidad and Guyana, with Guyana winning the toss and electing to bat. Was skittled out for just a meager 31 runs, with skipper or vice skipper Mohammed, Anisa Mohammed taking 8 for 11. Both Mohammed and Ram Harak have reaped havoc into the Guyanese team. They bowled unchanged throughout the innings and bowled out, single-handedly bowled out the Guyanese for 31. So until we return here, we'll take a break for now as we await the response for the Trinidad to the Guyanese total of 31 all out.
Oh God, keep me just left handed. Just left handed, keep. We just left handed.
Anyway, I'm a labor man. You can't destroy him about 20 years. I'm back in labor. I'm a labor man. When election come again, that's me like, make fuck man and the police station. That is not say then. Some say put the flag over my head. Okay, hey, that there, are you a security now? You a security? I son your talk, but he said son not supposed to do it. Son not supposed to do it. Everybody see that? And I'm about to talk about family. Take and we're in a place where I see. Exactly. Family will be fine. Come and tell us stamp never did it. Come on. Family will be there. Let's go to ground. And then I will take money to go buy what kind of vehicle and this and bullshit. Give me money. And I like to talk about me attack. Big difference. Let's go money and do the dance. That's what you say you do. That's what you say you do. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Parkway playing field. Action in the CG United Cricket West Indies 50 over championship. Match being played between Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana. If you're just joining us, a lot of action happening so far in today's proceedings. Guyana winning the toss earlier. Batting force was skittled out for 31 all out. Yes, 31 all out. So Trinidad and Tobago will need to get 32 in order to register their first victory in this tournament. And to call it with me is Mr. Alan Skrunkshang. Alan, good morning to you again.
Good morning, Osnet. Good morning to all our viewers.
This one, not the best of starts. Should get a run. It's waiting on the signal from the umpire. Signal is wide. So 2 runs to start. Not the best of starts from Millington, considering the total on the board.
Yeah, there wouldn't be much pressure on the openers, Joseph and Sao. With a very small total to get, all the pressure is on Guyana. They do have spinners as well. They will try to see how many they can eke out and put the Trinidad batters under pressure. But definitely the openers at the moment will not be under any pressure at all.
Millington, a consistent performer. As usual, we saw her through the 20 over championship. Got the third most wickets in that tournament. Wickets certainly the order of the day for the Guyanese here in this response.
Yeah, you think that they need to take 10 wickets in order to win this game.
Driving this one a bit officially was Joseph, but gets it in the gap. So she's off the mark. And score moves up to 3 without loss. Looking at the field for the Guyana. Sorting out the feelers in that attacking segment of the field. Silly mid off, silly mid on. There's a slip as well. Ring of feelers on the offside, sorry. Only feeler out is Williams here on the deep square leg boundary.
Yeah, it should be even better to bat on now, the quick pitch as it dries out. I think Guyana missed a trick in terms of the approach and the wicket.
Well, you answered my next question. I was about to ask you in terms of your assessment of the wicket. To what extent you think it contributed to the total we are seeing on show?
Well, I think it did play a role, definitely. I mean, there was a lot of bongs, a lot of turn, especially for so early in an innings. But I think it's probably more of an effect of the moisture. This is a venue where the moisture doesn't dissipate as quickly as others in the competition. And we had some rain overnight. We'll get back to that after this delivery. Yeah, we had some rain overnight. And we even saw that yesterday, you know, the seamers, although the leewers had a different type of attack on Tuesday with the seamers, there was a lot of sea movement earlier on as well because there's a lot of moisture that's in there. And you see, there's the old saying, if it seams, it spins. I think that's what you saw. And if they had played through that first period without losing many wickets, it would have been a different story.
I think that was a challenge for the Guyana team. They lost too many wickets too quickly in the piece. Never gave themselves a chance in terms of assessing exactly what the wicket was offering. Some of the techniques also left a lot to be desired in terms of how they played the spin as well. It was always a challenge, but I just thought that at times the technique coming forward a bit too early. And of course, those feelers around the bat, something that we don't see quite often in 50 over cricket. But seeing that ring of feelers around the batter really caused a lot of problems for the Guyanese batters. But as you mentioned, in terms of Guyana and the effort here in the field, they will need to get wickets early. And try to just put a bit of pressure on the Trinidad and Tobago batting unit, albeit such a paltry total on the board.
Yeah, this is a good move as well from Guyana to have their vice captain in the attack very early. In the 20 over game, they will open with Shanita Grimman, partnering Plafian and Millington. But I think that this is an excellent move because if they have to stay in this game, they have to take a lot of wickets.
Ashmini Munisa, it is, the off spinner. West Indies player as well. So has played some cricket at the highest level. Also the leading wicket taker in that T20 leg of the tournament. 13 wickets. Guyana would need her to make early breakthroughs here for her team. Just got a bit of bounce. And we've seen that this wicket offering a bit of spin for the bowler so far.
Yeah, different types of off spinners we have seen on display today. Anisia Mohammed slower through the air, more flight, more guile. Ramarak flatter, more bounce, a bit more pace off the wicket. And Monisa probably you would say somewhere in between those two.
Agreed. I think the difference here is that the Trinidad and Tobago team, they know the total that they're chasing, so they can afford to soak up a few dot deliveries. When you're batting first on a wicket like this, you're quite uncertain in terms of what is really a good score, because you're quite mindful of the fact that sooner or later the wicket will become a little bit better for batting as the sun beats down on it. Wide certainly won't help their cause, the Guyanese.
Yeah, they will need to eliminate all the extras. Definitely shouldn't be bowling any wides here. And the wicket is turning, so you have to compensate for that in terms of where you pitch the ball.
Just to remind our viewers that two other games are happening simultaneously. We have Jamaica versus Barbados at Cyan Hill. Jamaica 63 without loss. It's a good start there for the Jamaicans, trying to rebound after that defeat to Guyana at Cumberland. And speaking about Cumberland, Windward Islands women playing against Leeward Islands. Leeward Islands batting first. They're 88 for 6 there at Cumberland. Kiana Joseph just being dismissed there for 44. So Windward's a good start to the tournament for them, given what we saw in the T20 tournament where they struggled for consistency.
What you're seeing here is some consistency now from Monisa after those couple of wides. It brings you over to an end. What we see, we notice as well is that as we get around to this time, around 11 o'clock, around an hour and a half of play, the wicket tends to be at the best stage for batting actually here at Parkhead between now and maybe around midday when the sun is beating down on it. Later on it will dry out even more, and then the spin will be prodigious again. But now I think that's why I said Guyana missed the trick. Now would have been a good time for them to be batting. You're not going to see as much turn as you saw earlier in the piece.
Something you mentioned also in terms of the approach of the off spinners. We've seen quite a few off spinners on show, all different in their own way. As this one is driven nicely through the offside by Saw. Should get a second. It's look quite compact so far. Tall player as well, good reach. That always helps, trying to smother whatever spin or anticipated spin there is. Millington quite naturally, not a big turn of the ball, just uses her changes of pace and her consistency. It's looking for a big drive outside the off stump. Rather hopeful appeal in the end from the Guyanese. Remains 6 without loss.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at the techniques being employed by the batters against the off spinners. We'll get back to this after. That one you see again down a bit early on the front foot, so that length that is a bit back of a length, and there is that bounce in this pitch. So it really brings this short leg and this silly point into play. And quite a bit of the batters have been guilty of that, almost premeditating that front foot lunge.
I guess the first time we've seen that sort of disturbance in this response. Something we saw quite often during the Guyanese batting effort. The ball seemed to just turn and bounce a bit, making it uncomfortable for the batters. So far, Saw using that reach, as we mentioned, quite tall player, and trying to get as close as possible to the line of those deliveries.
Yeah, the polar opposite to somebody like Mangru who opened for Guyana. They don't have that reach. I think that and the bounce also caused them to struggle just a bit. Shorter batters, the bounce really was troubling them.
The last shot though, quite risky, something we saw the Guyanese doing quite often, trying to hit against the turn, driving against the turn, cutting against the turn, and really put themselves in a lot of problems. But on that occasion, Saw managing to get a bit of luck. That one inside edge past the off stump. But it's the end of the third over, and at the end of it, Trinidad and Tobago chasing a total of 32 for victory. They are 6 without loss.
It's not a bad start from Trinidad and Tobago. All things considered, they will have a diet of spin. Their job will be, as the openers, to just slowly eat into this very small total without losing too many wickets. Once they're able to do so for another few overs, then it will become just a foregone conclusion.
It's the type of total, though, Alonso, that a player being a bit aggressive and connecting a couple of boundaries can really dent whatever hope and aspirations the fielding team has. I'm not sure if that would be the approach of the Trinidad and Tobago team. Alternatively, it could just be a matter of just bat and bat as long as possible.
Well, having looked at the Trinidad batting lineup in the 2020 version, don't think that they have too many players like that in the top order. They did experiment with using Kirby earlier in some of the games, but the top order is not really packed with that power game.
This one is walked neatly behind square on the onside. Coming back for second, quite risky. A better throw, I think. It was good innovation there from Campbell, but just not the best of throw there from the fielder at square leg. In the end, making it quite comfortably there was Joseph. 2 more runs to her.
Yeah, it was a strong throw, but just a bit high. You think that if it was just over the base, that she would have been run out. It was fairly strong arm there being shown by the fielder. Janaba Joseph risking the second. Don't think that you have to in such a case, with such a paltry total. Joseph, I think, is a key batter. Does have the technical ability to negotiate what's on offer.
Indeed so. Saw her during that T20 tournament at times looking quite accomplished at the start, but never really played that big innings, that long innings. Certainly has a bit of talent. Joseph. Once again, a bit of tone, a bit of bounce there from Munisa. So far, both spinners just not having the sort of consistency that we saw from the Trinidad and Tobago spinners. And of course, not getting those early wickets, something that would really give them an extra lift. This one worked neatly again. Just waiting for that one to come to her, something that we spoke about, playing the ball late when it turns like this and working it down to short third man for another single. So doing it in the singles here, the Trinidad and Tobago openers at the end of the fourth over, it's 9 without loss.
Yeah, 9 without loss. And I think that the way that Janaba Joseph just played that last delivery is a study. I think that a lot of the top order for Guyana needs to look at when they're playing against off spinners who are turning the ball. She was right in her crease. Yes, she was forward, but she didn't lounge at the ball. She waited almost to see what it was doing and then just opened the face just at the last minute to get the single.
This one is walked again neatly behind square on the onside. Should get a second quite comfortably. So just walking the ones and twos, something we spoke about in terms of what the approach should be. Not overly troubled in this first 4.1 over or so.
What I would do if I were Guyana, I think I would try the left arm spinner, Schultz. Try to bring her into the bowling. Because
this one is punched down the ground, timed quite well. Should challenge the boundary, but Williams there just have enough to reel it in. 2 more runs. And as they continue to walk these balls into the gap, getting these ones and twos, it will just add a bit of frustration to the Guyanese.
That's well played as well by Joseph. Yeah, I was mentioning that in terms of the approach, all they really need to do, as you mentioned, is to get the singles and just look to play as straight as possible. And you've seen that from Joseph. I think, as I said before, she looks technically equipped to combat what is on offer and the challenges that the conditions are offering up.
This one again turning back into her, but just waiting on it again. and turning it neatly behind square on the onside. So good batsmanship being shown here by Joseph.
Yeah, what you're seeing from her, as I mentioned before, is that she's playing the ball late under her eyes. So she's giving the ball enough time to do what it has to do and then adjusting to it with our front or back foot.
Driving this one again through the offside. Good stop there from Williams at backward point. Limits the batters there to a single. But it's the end of the 5th over. And at the end of it, Guyana, they're up to 14. 14 without loss.
It's a good start here from Trinidad. Not many more runs left to win. Just 18 more runs to get to their victory total. One's going to say that I think that it's time for a bowling change for Guyana, that the left arm spinner should come on to replace Millington. You need a spinner who is turning the ball at this stage. A defensive spinner, I think Millington is. You only have 32 on the board. I don't think her type of bowling is what is suited and needed for the conditions here now. And the fact that you only made 31. Try to get your spinners on who turn the ball and see if they could put some pressure on the opening pair.
As a captain, you just don't have enough on the board to really try and execute whatever plans you have in place. You have to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, and being able to use them interchangeably. Not sure if there was an edge on that delivery. Quite a bit of excitement there from the fielders around the bat. In the end, the wicketkeeper Campbell not gathering cleanly. He's driving this one again. So he's been able to find the middle of our bat on a couple of occasions now. But certainly agree with you in terms of the use of the left arm spinner. Different option, turning the ball away from the right-handers. Both right-handers at the wicket currently. Certainly something that the captain can think about. Doesn't have a lot of time though.
I was just going to say that it might be a bit late now. I think that she could have actually opened the bowling. And I'm not sure if the bowler is comfortable with the new ball. That might be the other thing that would have come into consideration. But definitely in this situation, you try to open with the two most attacking spinners that you have. Game could be over quite quickly, but you give yourself a chance. Because you're not going to restrict Trinidad to less than 1 run and over.
This one again, looking to go through the offside with Saw. And gets the outside edge past the fielder there at slip. 2 more runs. So we've seen from Saw that whenever she's given the opportunity to free her arms, she has done so. And in the process, I've accumulated quite a few runs for her team. These tools, as we mentioned, certainly adding to the nails in the coffin of the Guyanese team. Another good delivery there from Munisa, giving it a bit of air on that occasion. Looking to entice a loose stroke from Saw. Saw, as we mentioned, getting close to the pitch of those deliveries. He's swinging this one in the air. A bit loose this time around. He's going to take a good catch, and Williams in the end, coming in from mid-off, takes the catch quite comfortably. And Trinidad and Tobago, they lose their first wicket. A bit of good bowling there from Munisa. Actually delivered from behind the crease.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that she delivered that from about 24 yards. And I think that the lack of pace, because of the distance that the ball had to travel, was what defeated Sao in the end. And that was excellent thinking by Munisa. And that is what you need, something out of the ordinary, really, to put a little bit of pressure on a team that's only chasing 32.
So welcome breakthrough there for the Guyanese team. I'm sure they have wanted it a bit earlier in the response, but a wicket nonetheless. And I'm sure that would give them a bit of confidence, a bit of motivation. As we see Samara Ramnath making her way to the crease. Ramnath, another of those players who have shaped up quite well at times, but just hasn't spent enough time at the crease to really make a difference for Trinidad and Tobago in terms of their batting. 6 overs completed, 17 for 1 Trinidad and Tobago. The scoring rate, not really an issue for them at this stage. Just trying to preserve their wickets and accumulate these runs. I'm sure this will do a lot for their net run rate as well, Trinidad and Tobago. Second round of fixtures in this CG United Cricket West Indies 50 over championship.
Yeah, that last shot from Joseph just reminding me of a similar shot that we saw from the skipper from Guyana who hit it that firmly to mid on and look out for a run. Just some pivotal points that you want to look back at in the innings, Guyana, in terms of their decision making.
Indeed so. It's a type of shot, sometimes you play that type of shot and you feel to yourself that you have to have a run, get a run from it. I think that was the case there with Campbell. She was into the shot, the momentum kind of just propelling her towards a single, but in the end, straight to the fielder there, Khan. And we've seen the brilliance of Khan throughout the tournament, throwing the stumps down direct hit, and that saw the end of Campbell. Millington continues from that sudden end. And Joseph once again using the depth of the crease on that occasion and working those balls neatly on the onside. Joseph has managed to negotiate whatever spin there is on offer for the Guyanese openers. Just managed to walk the ball into the gap at will, showing a bit of expertise. Both of these teams grew up on a lot of spin. I'm quite surprised to see Guyana struggle to some extent against the spin, knowing that they're a cricketing nation that is renowned for their spin bowling options.
Well, in the 2020 competition, Osnet, as the over comes to an end, 18 for 1, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, chasing 32. If you go back to the 2020 competition, these two teams, when they came up against each other at Arnesville, we noticed that, if you remember, that Guyana was dismissed for 50 odd as well in that game against Trinidad. So you make a good point that you would expect that the Guyana batters will be able to play spin well coming from Guyana, but it hasn't proven to be the case in the competition thus far. In fact, they have made the the lowest score so far in this competition, and I think that was the lowest score in the 2020 competition against a spin heavy side. So in fact, it may prove that they probably might be, if the statistics show or hold for the time being, they might have been the worst team against the spin, which is remarkable.
Agreed. But it's going to be Munisa, the vice captain here for the Guyana team, to continue proceedings. Joseph as steadfast as ever. Looking at the field, I feel that they're behind square on the onside shot. A silly mid-on, and I feel that they're short leg. That's why any sort of extra bounce that Munisa might extract. There's also a slip, backward point, cover, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on. And the lone fielder out, that fielder out at deep mid-wicket. Joseph once again using the depth of the crease on that occasion, punching it out to fielder there at backward point. Grimman, Shinita Grimman. I'm sure at some point we'll see her in the attack.
Yeah, I must say I'm impressed with Joseph, not just in this innings, but throughout the competition. And both competitions, I would say. I'm impressed with her technique, or defensive technique, of both front and back foot against spin and pace. Type of batter that you could work with now, just to broaden her scope of attacking shots as she goes into her game. But she has a technique to be out there, and that is the important thing.
Indeed so. Another a maiden over there from Munisa. 18 for 1 after 8 overs. The crowd here once again building up quite slowly. Spoke about the vociferous nature of the crowd here at Park Hill. They're quite disappointed in terms of the total on the board. Normally, You'd have people doing their chores at home and headed out in the afternoon to witness some of the cricket on hand. I'm not sure they'll catch any sort of cricket today. It's 11:15. The game can be over before lunch. As we see the introduction of Grimman, Shinita Grimman. Another of those off-spinning options.
I think if the game is over before lunch, we'll be waiting for a hour time. Just a few runs left, really. 14 more, as you said.
Ramnat. We're going to finish off proceedings here with Joseph. I'm sure Trinidad and Tobago will want to win quite handsomely. Lost the wicket of Saw so far. This one is punched nicely off a back foot.
Yeah, but you're going to see again that the Guyana team, they have opted, yes, for the experience of Grimman, but I think you need a spinner now that's using the conditions that are present. It's offering you tone, so you need a spinner who turns it.
But to be honest, Alans, we haven't seen that degree of tone from the Guyanese spinners as much as we saw from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not sure if it's a trajectory of the spinners on show. You spoke about the fact that Onisa Mohammed, a bit of guile, bowling a bit slower, was able to make use of conditions a bit better than what we have seen so far from the Guyanese spinners on show.
Yeah, is it dropped or did it fall short? But some bounce and some turn there. We're talking about Joseph defensive play. This time she has to be mindful that there's someone there just at that short leg region on the crease. So anything that's turned uppishly, it could be in danger. Yeah, I'll comment on what you mentioned now about the difference in tone. I think there are two reasons for that. Number one, the wicket is drying out a bit, and I said that the moisture at the beginning actually helped the spinners. Because I mentioned in the last game that you had a lot of sea movement as well early up because of the moisture. And then that dried out just around this time, between around 11, 12 o'clock, 12:30, was a nicer pitch to bat on. But I also think that's to some degree that has to do with the quality of the spinners. Munisa is a good spinner, but she's not necessarily the biggest turner of the ball. What you saw from Mohammed and Ramarak is that they put a lot of revolutions on the deliveries. Ramarak usually bowls a lot flatter, but after her first over, when she realized what was on offer, she slowed it down just a bit and was getting the ball to turn and bounce prodigiously.
This one is a good looking shot through the offside. Slight misfield there from Williams, Latoya Williams. But comfortable start to the over there from Ramnat.
Yes, Williams generally good in the field. Her sister and her, they usually put in some deep positions on the field around the boundary, which indicate that the team does have the confidence in them to do the patrolling. Latoya Williams, Lorraine Williams. That's her sister out at the deep square leg boundary.
It's a good delivery again outside the off stump there from Munisa. And going past the outside edge, well taken there from Captain Campbell.
Yeah, I think that Munisa now is really settling into her work. She's getting a better line and length, looking bubbly at the crease and excited about bowling in these conditions.
You can see that she has been quite keen on giving the ball a bit more air. Something that we don't see a lot from her. You mentioned she's that in-between sort of spinner. At times she can be a bit flat. but at times does use flatters in that occasion. Was pushing that one through, but misdirected. And a second is being sought. A second is being gained there from Janaba Joseph. So good running. As the score continues to accumulate here for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, so 2 leg buys there, as you mentioned. Score just trickling along, moving towards the mark. Just another 10 runs needed now. Yeah, just another 10 runs needed now from Trinidad, 22 for 1. As you mentioned, Osnet, they really don't have much to do and anything different. We are coming almost to the end of Trinidad's innings, and we have seen a game where there has not been a boundary, which is quite interesting. The outfield is not the fastest, but because it's not the biggest, it still can score boundaries on the ground. But haven't really seen those type of shots from the batters. Some have looked to go in the air and have fallen to that approach.
This one is punching to the offside once again from Ramnath. Exactly what is required at this stage. Just walking the ball into the gaps. Frustrating the Guyana to some extent. Not giving them any sort of wicket-taking opportunities. It's safe to say that they're in that region now where it's just only a matter of time for Trinidad and Tobago. It's 9 runs required. They have all of 40 overs also to do it.
Yeah, just a bit of bounce there from Millington, from Grayman on that occasion. Tall spinner, strong. As I said, doesn't get much tone, but we'll get a bit of bounce. The wicket has bounced all day.
This one is walked officially, but past one of those fielders close in. Gachnabi went past her quite quickly. Almost a half opportunity, you would say.
Yeah, probably less than a half, because yes, it passed officially, but I think it was far enough away from the fielder. She would have felt very unlucky, as did Gajnabi, I think, when she did whip that one off her pads into the midriff of Cooper. This time she is gone. Is it? Or off the pad?
I think it was an opportunity. I think it's actually dropped. When she made contact to the ground, I think it just
got slipped out of her hand. Just wanted to that's caught, because she had it in her hand all the time. As you mentioned, it just popped out.
This one is sweeping behind square on the onside. Should challenge the boundary. I think we'll get our first boundary of the match. Yes, just trickling into the fence. So Ramnath on that occasion, after being dropped on the previous delivery, opting for that sweep shot, which she was able to execute quite well.
Yeah, the first boundary of the game. But yeah, you really didn't see that enterprise before in the innings. Was a little bit shorter, so maybe some danger if you think about the top edge, but she went from high to low and got over it nicely. Got it away to the boundary. So well executed sweep shot from Samara Ramnath.
And it's a shot that we haven't seen a lot of today. And considering the majority of bowlers on show were off spinners coming back into the right-handers, we didn't see a lot of them employ that sort of shot. It's a shot that can work quite well for you as a batter, whether you're sweeping on line or sweeping on length. Certainly well executed there on that occasion from Ramnath. Once again, a bit short this time and working it nicely, timing it well. All the way for 4, so back-to-back boundaries for Ramnath. Once again, shaping up quite well at the start of this inning. Certainly someone who has a lot of timing, and on that occasion had a lot of placement as well.
Yes, I think that's perhaps the shot of the day. And it seems to be the end of the game now. Ramnath just punching that one off the back foot. I mean, not much competition in terms of what would be the shot of the day, only 2 boundaries, but really just timed that one nicely, coming into her wicket and using the pace of Shanita Grimman, getting it behind square on the onside for 4.
So Trinidad and Tobago coming out chumps in this encounter. Really the better team on show for the majority of the overs that were bowled today, Guyana won the toss earlier on, and they were skittered out for 31 runs, and Trinidad and Tobago achieving a total with a loss of 1 wicket. And certainly a comprehensive performance from Trinidad and Tobago. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to the Guyana team. Certainly a lot for them to ponder on in terms of their batting. Even in their last game, chasing down a total of 77, lost 5 wickets along the way. So their batting is certainly a cause of concern. Something we saw from the T20 Championship being filtered into this 50-over championship. So from Trinidad and Tobago perspective, defeated by the Windies in the last game, they'll certainly be happy that they could make somewhat of a comeback in this encounter, largely due to the brilliance of Anisa Mohammed earlier on with the ball.
Yes, and you'd say that must congratulate Trinidad and Tobago for the excellent performance in this game. Really, just wiped Guyana aside in this comprehensive victory. And at the end of it, I think that they will be very pleased with this game. I think Guyana now has to do a lot of thinking. They'll be back on the same wicket on Saturday in the next round, and they will have to do a lot of thinking about their approach to batting. I'm thinking conditions will be more of the same, I would presume, and so they have to think about how they will go about putting an innings together in these conditions. And for me, thinking about it, I think that if the field is available, that it might be a good idea for them to knock for a few hours on this before they go home this afternoon.
Indeed, so a lot to think about for the Guyana team. As we mentioned, their batting just hasn't come to the party in no shape or form. But Trinidad and Tobago, good all-round performance from them, led by the experienced players, and I'm sure they will look into continue along that vein as they look to finish in the top echelons of this competition. But that's all the action that we'll have for you here from Park Hill Playing Field, and all the day, as they would say. Guyana making 31, Trinidad and Tobago 32 for 1. Trinidad and Tobago deserve winners here in the Cricket West Indies 50-over championship.